Greetings adventurers, this is Lunar, your guild advisor, with the latest news from the latest Japanese live stream that happened earlier today on August 27th. And as you can see here, the event that was teased last week with the unit previews is indeed happening this week, tomorrow on August 28th, and it's called Dungeon Rogue Town. And in here you can max limit break the Outlaw style Mord for free just by playing through the event. Of course, his stats aren't quite as good as the actual gacha characters, but if you're a newer player, then that should be really helpful for you to get up to speed with the game. Now let's get into the skill translations, and I'd like to thank Gale Riot for detecting me at Discord for a lot of these skill translations and the info in this video. Now of course I'll only be briefly touching upon the skills in this video. I'll actually do a unit analysis either tomorrow or the day after on all the units, so look forward to that, but I'm just going to briefly touch and do a brief overview of the unit skills here. And with Mord, you can see that his stats aren't quite the snuff as other actual 4-star characters that you can pull for, but he should be a decent character if, again, you are a newer player. Now, he has a really weird gimmick, and right here, let's go over the skills first. His special arts is an AoE Ultra Wind physical attack with a high critical rate, and when he's in slow ailment, that damage is increased by 70%. Now, so his damage is boosted when he's under the effect of a slow ailment. And as you can see here in his combat skills, his first skill is an AoE low wind physical attack that inflicts slow upon himself. And he also buffs his strength and wind damage by 40% for 4 turns. So he actually has a move that inflicts the slow ailment status on himself, and that's why all his other skills have that skill damage modifier when he's in slow ailment. So it's really interesting gimmick they're trying to go for. I'm guessing they're trying to think of new ways to make units, and this is really a test, and they're just going to test it out on a free character like Mord. Skill 2, an AoE mid-wind physical attack with a high unguard rate. When in slow ailment, skill damage plus 50%. And then skill 3, single target high wind physical attack with a high unguard rate. When in slow ailment, skill damage plus 60%. So it's a really interesting gimmick. It's definitely not something that you would use for war games, because in that you want to be attacking as fast as possible, and Mord over here is going to be attacking at the very end of the turn due to his self-inflicted slow status. I guess that axe is super heavy. And for his passives, he gets a wind element counter, and he has an additional 30% damage reduction when he guards. Now moving on to the actual gacha characters. Next up is temporary healer Amid. She'll be a balanced character focused on the wind element. She has a rather high magic stat for being a balanced character at 1379, but the most important thing to look at right here is her agility being 988. And I'll get to that in just a second when I look at her skills here. Her special art is an AoE Ultra Wind magic attack with a temporary magic boost, and also reduces magic and wind resistance by 35% for 1 turn. Her combat skills, her first skill is single target slow high wind magic attack, and also removes curses and ailments from your party. Her second skill gives your allies a 30% HP regen buff, and a physical and magic resistance buff of 30% for 3 turns. And her last skill, her most important one, is an AoE fast low wind magic attack that reduces the strength, magic, and agility of your opponents by 30% for 2 turns. Now, if that looks very familiar, that's pretty much the skill that Krotso has, except, of course, it's wind magic instead. And the reason I say that her agility stat is very important is that 988 at plus 5 puts her over Krotso's agility at plus 5 when his is at 930. So that's about 58 more agility points for Amid over here. And this really depends on what her agility will be when she's max hero ascended, because that's going to be the ultimate game breaker right there. Because right now, war games, it's really an agility based meta. So whoever's Krotso goes first gets that agility debuff off, and that means the person whose Krotso goes first, the rest of their party is going to go first on their moves because they just debuff their opponent's agility. So if Amid is indeed faster than Krotso even during the hero ascensions, you're going to see a lot of Amid just because she'll be able to go faster than Krotso and therefore get that agility debuff before the Krotso party can, and then the rest of that team's going to be able to go before the opponent. So that's going to be really interesting to see when we do see her hero ascended stats when she does come out. And for her passive, she has a counter heal, so if it's like the other characters that can counter heal, she will heal the lowest health ally instead of doing an attack during her counter. She has an additional 30% damage reduction on guard, and she has a passive ailment resistance of 30%. Next up, we have Outlaw Rabbit Bell. He'll be a magic attacker focused in the thunder element, and you can see right now that his magic is pretty high, even at +5, being 1534. As for his skills, his special arts is a single target ultra thunder magic attack with a temporary magic boost, and reduces the enemy's magic resistance by 50% for 1 turn. For his combat skills, his first skill is a single target mid-thunder magic attack that boosts his magic and thunder damage by 50% for 4 turns. So on a lot of the other characters with double buffs, they'll usually have a low base power attack, but in the case of the magic characters like Fina and this new Bell, they have a mid-thunder attack, so they're doing quite a bit more damage on that first turn than the other units. His second skill is a single target high thunder magic attack that removes strength and magic buffs excluding assist skills. So right off the bat you can see he'll be really useful in Record Buster, him being a single target unit and being able to remove both strength and magic buffs, so it'll be good for both Reveria and Ravis. And his third skill is a single target super thunder magic attack with a high penetration rate, and also reduces the magic and thunder resistance of your enemy by 30% for 4 turns. So it is a super attack without a temporary boost, so it will hit lower than a high with a temporary boost, but it's kind of made up for the fact that it has a high penetration rate, because when you do get that penetration, it will ignore half the defense of the opponent, so there's a nice trade-off there, and plus the components of reducing the enemy's magic and thunder resistance by 30% is quite a lot. I can see this Bell being very, very good for Record Buster for quite a while. And for his passives, he has the Giant Killer passive, so he'll hit giant type characters a lot harder, and he will also have a Thunder Elements component on his counters and normal attacks. Next up is the Lawful Judge Ozzy assist. You can see she has some pretty balanced stats, and her assist skill at maximum break increases the strength, magic, agility, and dexterity of all your allies by 10%, and also increases their stun resistance by 100% as well. So if you have Ozzy equipped at maximum break, you're very unlikely to get stunned, and she's kind of a versatile assist, and I think she'd be pretty good for newer players because of that, being able to increase strength, magic, agility, and dexterity. And that agility will be useful for people that don't have the Sacred Fire Hestia that also has agility on it. And next up we have the Dungeon Waitress Lunar assist. Now this is the character I thought we would have like a high amount of agility on, except it looks like that amount is actually dexterity instead. And for her assist skill, it's very interesting because, as you can see here, it's a 45% chance to stun, and it activates twice when she initially joins the fight. And how I think that will work is, when she initially comes in, she has a 45% chance to stun someone, and that will happen, and then however many people will get stunned by the effect, and then it happens once more. So you have 2 chances to stun your enemies, and that'll be quite useful for people building ailment teams, because being able to stun twice also means you're able to take off those charges of status ailment nullifications from characters like Ariadne and Ceremonial Flame Hestia. So it'll be really interesting to see people building ailment teams for war games and how Lunar shapes up. And again guys, I will do a in-depth unit analysis later on after the update hits, either tomorrow night or the day after. And this will be the login campaign bonus for the event. It's pretty standard fare rewards wise. But for this next campaign, it's the 10 million downloads campaign for DanMemo. And if you log in during all the days here, you will accumulate over the course of it 1,000 iris. So make sure to log in every day and get that 1,000 iris, because that'll be quite useful for these upcoming banners. And we're still getting those weekly Season 2 gacha characters, so that'll definitely help out there. And this next image is really funny because she actually leaked last night on the Taiwanese forum, but based off the silhouette, most of you can probably tell it's Aisha, and then I will also put up an image that was leaked earlier, and it's definitely Aisha from that. So if a lot of you guys are a fan of her from the last few episodes, then be excited. We will also be getting a couple anime bundles like we did previously for episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. With this bundle, you can buy featuring the units from the episode 5 and 6 banners being Cassandra, Daphne, and Ishtar. And as you can see here with the bundle, you will get an anime 4-star guarantee 11 draw ticket. And with that ticket, you'll be able to get either Cassandra, Daphne, or Ishtar, and then 10 hero Falna and lots of other Falna and Auxilia books as well. And it's the same thing for the other anime bundle for episodes 7 and 8. You'll be able to get Lena or Aisha, and it's the same kind of bonuses with that one. And then next up, we have a English image for the Mega 10 campaign. As you can see here, the first one right there is the Dungeon Rogue Town event. And it looks like we're finally getting that chat system added into the Familia feature in the game. About time. And for number 3, I already covered the 1000 Iris login campaign. For number 4, we're getting the once a day Crystal Rabbit quest triple drop, so we'll be able to get a lot of Moonbow gems from that. Number 5, Heroic Trials, I will cover that pretty soon. Number 6, equipment upgrade campaign. So I'm guessing that it will be a lot easier to upgrade equipment, and we're going to have a lot more great successes with that. Updates on existing features, which I'll cover later. A Familia invite function is added, so I'm guessing you'll be able to scout out players and actually invite them to your Familias now. And then Record Buster is coming really soon, and there's going to be a challenge for it to get over 10 million points. And there's also a top secret campaign, whatever that means. And here's the upcoming Heroic Trials featuring the detective Anya and Chloe. Previously, we've had a Heroic Trials where they just have one character, but it looks like this time you'll have to choose between one of the two, and only being able to select one of the bonds is reflected in this next picture. And it looks like they'll be making the extra difficulty a bit harder by increasing its rate to 120, but those who clear the extra quest in Heroic Trial will get 2 hero lights, so that's nice. And if you S clear it, you'll get 30 iris. And then some updates for version 8.1 of the game, and you will now be able to sell multiple bonds at a time. So if you're accumulating a lot of those bonds from doing all those pulls, you're able to sell more than one type of bond at the same time, so that kind of saves a bit of time, just a quality of life feature. And then the Familia chat function will be added, of course. And now when you long press the plus button or the minus button in the game, like when you're doing exchanges, you'll be able to just long press instead of just spamming with your finger. So that's another quality of life change. Another one here is being able to skip the dispatch quest animation. That's pretty useful because it was always annoying because a lot of us are just in the auto mode to do dispatch quests because we have a lot of units, so we don't really need to think about what units to select. So it's just nice that we'll be able to skip that animation because I've seen it enough times. And for you whales out there, because the month is changing to September, that means the Iris and Hero Light bundles will be refreshing, so you'll be able to buy those once more. And just a brief overview of the upcoming schedule. On August 27th, which is today, we should be getting that version 8.1 update, which will give us all those quality of life changes. And then tomorrow on August 28th will be the start of the Dungeon Rogue Town event, the opening of Record Buster and Heroic Trials. And then on the 30th, the new event login bonus will start, as well as that 10 million downloads campaign. And of course, that's the premiere of episode 8 of the anime, so the anime gacha will be available for Aisha, as well as the sub-story to go with the episode. And then on the 31st is when that refresh for the Iris and Hero Light bundle will happen. And then next week, September 4th, is when War Game will start, so we're back to that back and forth between Record Buster and War Game. But that pretty much does it for the news, guys. Again, thank you to Gale Riots running the Technia Discord for a lot of the information in this video. I hope you guys are looking forward to the upcoming units, as well as rolling for Aisha, because I think she should be a good unit based on what I know about her in the light novel. Poor Lena, though, because she ended up being kind of mediocre compared to the other characters, especially the new Belle, which is a single target focused character that's just clearly better than Lena, so poor Lena. But if you like this video and would like to see more Danmachi content, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. And as always, continue enjoying your time venturing in Aurario and the dungeon. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, signing out.